Hi, I'm Jess. I'm an NLP practitioner, and I wanted to just share my personal story of why I started the Burgess Method in the first place. The Burgess Method was really born out of my own chaos of a toxic workplace, toxic relationships, toxic friendships. Everything in my life just felt like I didn't have a grip on it, I didn't have a handle on it. And I felt like I was caught up in this tornado of just going through my life but not experiencing it. Have you ever felt that? Like you're going through life, you're waking up every day, you're showing up, but you're not having life, you're not enjoying it, you're not present in it. Life is just happening, but I wasn't getting the opportunity to experience my life. And I felt like I was missing out on everything that made my identity up, loving travel, enjoying people and relationships, and helping others. Like all of that was gone because I didn't have the capacity to be aligned with myself or to tap out. And the Burgess Method really started when I discovered this amazing mentor, which, if you've been to any of my sessions, you know exactly who that mentor is. And I stumbled upon him by complete accident. It was a moment of grace, we call it in our industry, a moment of grace where science can't explain exactly why something showed up and how it showed up in your life, but it does just at the right moment. And it changes, it's the catalyst of change. It changes everything. And I discovered this amazing tool called neurolinguistic programming, NLP. And it was better than life coaching. And in my opinion, it was better than traditional therapy methods, which often leads to something like talk therapy or medicated situations. Now, I'm not going to discredit any of those industries because I think they have a place. For me, they were not my place. I needed something that allowed me to, first of all, express what my challenge was so that I could see what was the gap between where I was and where I wanted to be. But then, aside from that, give me real, solid, actionable steps that allowed me to practice getting closer to where I wanted to be and closing that gap. And I needed something that was a little bit more like, what do you think you should do? How do you feel about that next step? I needed something that was like scientifically proven. Now, that doesn't work for everyone, but that was my brain. My brain said, I need the science that if I'm going to take this next step, that there's evidence that people get results from this. Because I don't want to waste any more time not experiencing my life. If I'm going to go for this, I need to know that these tools have results. And that was the power of NLP for me. And I went to a bunch of different seminars. I started partaking in different courses. And eventually I felt like I had exactly what I needed to take actionable steps in my life to get to where I wanted to be. And I did. I managed to get from A to B. And funny enough, when I got to B, guess what? My goals changed. But at least I didn't feel like I had to redesign my whole life from a tragic scenario. Instead, when I got to B, I was like, this is great. But guess what? I want something more now. I want something bigger. I want to grow further. I don't want to stop. And what was great was I already had the set of tools to get me there. And so I continue to recreate myself, transform my life. And every time I get to the goal, actually sometimes just before I get to goal, I'm like, hey, actually, this is great, but I want something different. And I just keep repeating the set of tools that works for me to evolve. And what's great about NLP is anyone can do it. Thousands and millions of people have used these tools and have gotten results. And currently, there is amazing research being done on how much more effective this process is in helping people disarm destructive relationships, triggers, mood disorders, even make their brains healthier, so increase brain plasticity, healing their relationships, their marriages, becoming a better parent, becoming a better kid, becoming a better human. And what's great, I find about NLP is you have the power. It's all within you. So you don't rely on me as the NLP practitioner to save you. I just give you the tools. I give you the tools, you do the weightlifting with those tools, and basically you are responsible for your results. And why that's so important and crucial to your personal growth journey, and this is what I've realized, is You need to do it for yourself because no one's coming to save you. And when you get the tools, most people get caught up on the, oh, I want to change, I just don't know how. So my job is to say, this is the how, but I don't do the work for you. And what happens is it unlocks your confidence. It unlocks that ability to build and stack on your confidence and say, hey, you know what? I did that. I had the self-discipline to practice these tools and I got the results. Hey, I had the discipline to choose to be in a beautiful state, even when it was easier to be in a bad state. I chose to stay in a beautiful state because I know that I behave and perform better in that state than in an uncontrolled state. And so that's why I started the Burgess Method, because I realized how many people are living in the chaos of life and want to do better, but they don't know where to start and they don't know how, and there's no actionable steps. And they don't want to go to some random person who just asks them how they're feeling all the time and brings up old wounds all the time, but doesn't help them move forward. You shouldn't be in a room with somebody for 20 years discussing the same problem, because I promise you, if that's the case, it's not working. If you aren't moving forward, even small, like you don't have to take leaps, but if you aren't moving forward and you're still hung up on the same issues that you were 5 years ago, whatever you're doing isn't working. And so I designed the Burgess Method because I realized everybody deserves to have access to these tools. Now, not everybody will use these tools. Some people will say that they're stuck on the how. They'll say, oh, I just don't know how to change. And they'll find these tools, but they won't do the work. And then they realize that it's not about the how, it's about the why. So they realize very quickly that they're not doing the work because they don't know how. They've chosen not to do the work because they don't know why they should. They don't have a big enough why. And so the reality of NLP is it comes down to you. But once you have the tools, there's no going back. And there's a different self-awareness that happens. Instead of saying, I'm self-aware of the problem I have, you become self-aware that there's a problem and a solution. And then you build on the self-awareness of, do I have a strong enough why to practice the tools, to take on the work? Or am I happy to stay in my comfort zone? So if you feel like you're the kind of person who's ready for change, but you're not sure if your why is strong enough to push you to take action, I want you to DM the word why. And I'm going to send you a real quick free PDF where you can really align with the why of your need to change and to grow. Because once you understand your why, the how becomes so easy because you'll do whatever it takes.